David Chen stared at the rusty deed in his weathered hands, the Martian wind whistling through the gaps in the abandoned coffee shop's airlock. After 20 years as a cargo hauler between Earth and the outer colonies, he'd finally scraped together enough credits to buy his own place. The Red Bean Cafe wasn't much to look at. Cracked polymer walls, outdated atmospheric processors, and furniture that had seen better decades. But it was his. Another human with delusions of entrepreneurship, came a voice from behind the counter. David spun around to find a woman emerging from what he'd assumed was a storage room. She appeared to be in her mid-20s, with striking auburn hair and eyes that seemed to hold centuries of secrets. Her barista uniform was pristine, which was odd considering the shop had been closed for months. "I'm Emma," she said, extending a hand. "I come with the establishment." "That's not how property purchases work," David replied, though he shook her hand anyway. Her grip was surprisingly strong, and for just a moment he could have sworn he felt electricity pass between them. Emma smiled, an expression that seemed both ancient and playful. "Oh, David Chen, former cargo pilot, serial optimist, and proud owner of the worst coffee shop on Mars. You have no idea how property purchases work when time itself is involved." David blinked. "How do you know my name? Background?" "The fact that you're about to ask me 17 questions starting with how and why." Emma moved behind the espresso machine with practiced ease. "Because I've been waiting for you. Specifically, I've been waiting for you to buy this shop on this exact day at this exact time for the past 300 years. The atmospheric processor hummed as David processed this information. Mars had taught him to be practical above all else. The red planet didn't suffer fools or fantasies. But something about Emma's certainty made him pause. "Let me guess," David said slowly. "You're some kind of alien?" Emma laughed, a sound like silver bells in the thin Martian air. "Oh, much worse than that. I'm human, just not from your when." She gestured around the shabby cafe. "Welcome to the most important coffee shop in the galaxy, David. You just don't know it yet." As if to prove her point, Emma began operating the ancient espresso machine with impossible skill. Steam hissed, gears whirred, and within moments the aroma of perfect coffee filled the space. Coffee that smelled better than anything David had experienced in 2 decades of interplanetary travel. "In my time," Emma continued, pulling shots with the precision of a master craftsman, "this little cafe becomes the neutral meeting ground for the Galactic Peace Accords. The war between the Centauri Federation and the Vega Consortium will rage for another 40 years, unless certain conversations happen here, in this exact spot, facilitated by coffee that can only be made with Martian water, earth beans, and equipment calibrated to this planet's unique electromagnetic field." David accepted the cup she handed him and took a sip. It was extraordinary, complex, rich, with undertones he couldn't identify. "And you're here because?" "Because," Emma said, beginning to clean equipment that looked spotless, "I'm Queen Emma Vasquez of the Temporal Diplomatic Corps, and my job is to ensure that history unfolds correctly. The David Chen who bought this cafe was supposed to be just a simple former pilot, looking for a quiet retirement. What I didn't expect was for him to be someone capable of understanding the bigger picture." She paused, studying him with those ageless eyes. "Most humans can't handle the truth about time travel. They break down, go mad, or try to change things they shouldn't. But you're different, aren't you?" David considered this. Mars had taught him to adapt, to accept impossible circumstances and find ways to work with them. He'd seen enough of the galaxy to know that reality was far stranger than most humans imagined. "So what do you need from me?" he asked. Emma's smile widened. "Nothing dramatic. Just run a coffee shop. Serve good coffee to whoever walks through that door. Don't ask too many questions when customers pay with currency that hasn't been invented yet, or when they speak languages you've never heard. And most importantly, when a scarred Centauri diplomat and a cybernetically enhanced vegan trade negotiator walk in here on the same day next month, make sure they both get exactly what they order. And in return? In return, you get to be part of the moment when humanity proves that sometimes the greatest diplomatic achievements happen over a simple cup of coffee. You get to show the galaxy that humans don't just excel at war or exploration, we excel at bringing people together." David looked around the shabby cafe with new eyes. The cracked walls suddenly seemed like character, the outdated equipment like vintage charm, a time-traveling queen for a barista and a role in galactic peace negotiations. This wasn't in the property listing, Emma laughed again. The best things in life never are. So David Chen, are you ready to serve the best coffee in space and time? David drained his cup and set it down with a decisive clink. Emma, I spent 20 years hauling cargo across the void because I believed in connecting distant places and bringing people what they needed. I think I can handle coffee. As if on cue, the cafe's atmospheric processors hummed to life with the efficiency they hadn't shown in years. The lights brightened to a warm, welcoming glow, and the front door chimed as their first customer, a being David couldn't immediately identify, stepped inside. Emma winked at him. Welcome to the coffee business, partner. Let's make some history. Outside, Mars continued its ancient rotation, unaware that in one small cafe, the future of galactic civilization was about to be negotiated one cup at a time.